My dear friends, I am Dr. Omkar Prasad Vaidya, Assistant Professor working in a medical institute. I am going to tell something on COVID-19 pandemic and the role of immunity in management of this pandemic. So all of you know we are passing a stage of anxiety, tension and panic as COVID-19 is very much highly prevalent in our country and throughout the world. It has been declared as a global epidemic as well as pandemic by the World Health Organization, and it has taken many lives along with many comorbidities throughout the world, including India. Let us know something about COVID-19. We will discuss something about COVID-19 and let us know something about what is COVID-19, and we will also try to discuss something about how the immunity plays an important role and how to boost our immunity in this pandemic season. Okay, so COVID-19 is an infection caused by respiratory virus, which is an RNA virus and also known as coronavirus 2, and more specifically it is known as COVID-19 or coronavirus 19 2000, as it was first isolated in December 2019. It is called COVID 2019 and also known as SARS-CoV-2. SARS means severe acquired respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2. It is an infection caused by coronavirus, which is a respiratory virus, also a RNA virus. RNA means ribonucleic acid virus. Okay, it was first identified in December 2019 at Wuhan, China. From there it has spread throughout the world. It is via international travelers and throughout the various parts of the world. Till date, more than 12.1 million cases have been reported across the world, and number of deaths are gradually increasing. It has crossed, number of deaths has crossed beyond 5.52 lakhs throughout the world. So we can understand the importance of the COVID-19 in this season. And more specifically, I should mention that the pre-existing illness like diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular diseases and respiratory diseases is very much increasing the chance of this death in this disease, COVID-19. So pre-existing illness like diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular diseases, respiratory distress or various respiratory diseases may increase the chance of morbidities and complications in this pandemic season in COVID-19. So we have already discussed that it is a coronavirus. It is first isolated in animal and it may spread via animal to humans, and it was first isolated in China in December 2019, and it has taken many lives throughout the world. So it is a very great concern for the doctors, researchers and for politics, and has become an urgency of this present health scenario. So what are the sign symptoms? The sign symptoms of the present COVID-19 virus infection, it is just like a flu. So fever is the most common sign symptoms. 99% of the most common clinical feature is the fever, followed by cough, then loss of appetite may be there, fatigue is also there, headache may be there, and in the complicated cases may present with shortness of breath or chest tightness, palpitation, and associated with some cardiovascular manifestation also, depending on the situations. So most common clinical features or sign symptoms of this disease is fever, then cough, then sore throat like sign symptoms, then shortness of breath may be there in severe conditions. In the latest complications, chest palpitation, sore throat, regular sputum production, cough and cold like sign symptoms may be there. So these are the various sign symptoms of COVID-19. So what may be the complications of this COVID-19? So one of the most important complication of COVID-19 is pneumonia. All of you know pneumonia is nothing but infection of the lung. Okay, so pneumonia is one of the important complication of COVID-19, and which may leads to acute respiratory distress syndrome, also known as ARDS. Okay, and this COVID-19 infection, if not managed in right time, or if it is superimposed with some clinical sign symptoms like diabetes, or superimposed with other diseases like diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, respiratory disease, may leads to multi-organ failure, including kidney failure and acute kidney injury. Okay, and you should not forget that COVID-19 complication may leads to septic shock, and it may leads to death also. So most common cause of death in COVID-19 case is mostly because of multi-organ failure or pneumonia, and followed by pulmonary thrombosis or pulmonary infarction or embolism and thrombosis. Okay, and when it comes to CVS, then maybe heart failure may be there, arrhythmia may be there, heart inflammation may be there, and blood clots may be there. Can you understand? And when it comes to CNS, it is very important that it may also leads to CNS complications like stroke, seizures, and even encephalitis like sign symptoms. So one of the severe complication of COVID-19 is pneumonia, acute respiratory distress syndrome, multi-organ failure, including kidney injury or kidney failure, septic shock, or even death. Now, how it is transmitted? So it is very important that you should know how the COVID-19 is transmitted in the society. The most important thing is the aerosol or the droplets of sneezing, coughing out of the droplets infection is spread via droplets. When the person is in close contact, when an infected person sneezes or coughs, then the aerosol or the droplet particles may come out and may enter into the respiratory tract of another person and infect that person. Can you understand? That's why the role of using mask for prevention of infection or prevention of transmission of the disease is very much important. That's why doctors always advise, please wear a mask to prevent this infection or transmission from one person to another person. So droplet infection or small droplet infection is the mode of transmission of this disease, which may be transmitted via cough, sneezing, or even in close contact. So suppose a person coughs out some droplet infection, it has gone to air. From air it will deposit in some surfaces, maybe on the floor or on the surface of any table, chairs like this. So when another person touches these surfaces through hand, it may be contaminated. So person through surface contact also, person may get infected, or transmission may also occur if the surface is contaminated via some aerosol or droplet infection. And it has been studied in research that the virus may remain in the surfaces for longer time, at least for few minutes, up to 10 minutes. And recently many research scientists are giving information and are giving reports to World Health Organization that it may be airborne, as the virus particle may remain in the air for longer time. That's why it may be airborne. So that is the most important, increase the panicity of the situation. If the disease or the virus infection become airborne, then chance of infection is very much increased. And spread via sputum and saliva has also been seen. So infected sputum and saliva can also lead to the transmission of the disease. So sometimes contact of a person, infected person with another person, is also very much important, as contact with one person to another person via hands or may help in transmission of the disease. So we should prevent touching of any infected surface or contact surface in this pandemic season, and at the same time we should allow others to regularly use hand sanitizers, as hand sanitizers contain alcohol. It will totally destroy the virus and ultimately prevents the hand-to-hand transmission of the disease. So droplet infections, aerosol transmission, so sputum infection, salivary infection may be also there. So let's focus on the pathology of the COVID-19. So it is very much important, you should something know about the pathology. So the most important organ that is infected in case of COVID-19 is lungs. The pulmonary alveolar epithelial cells contain one enzyme known as angiotensin converting enzyme, which plays an important role in conversion of angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2, and this angiotensin 2 is a potent vasoconstrictor and plays important role in control of blood pressure and water regulation, plasma volume concentration. So that angiotensin converting enzyme 2 has some receptor on its surface, and this virus COVID-19, coronavirus 19, target this angiotensin AC2 receptor on the surface of the pulmonary alveoli or pulmonary epithelial cells, and that's why lung is the most important organ which is targeted, and that's why it may leads to pneumonia and gradual destruction of the alveoli and finally acute respiratory distress syndrome. Can you understand? And most important, we should not forget that this fulminant gradually progressive alveolar disease may leads to respiratory failure in those subjects. Okay, and when it comes to in CVS, there is always some myocardial injury because this angiotensin converting enzyme 2 converting enzyme 2 receptors is also present on the vascular epithelium, which is also target of this virus, and ultimately which leads to the myocardial injury, myocardial thrombosis, myocardial vascular epithelial injury, venous thrombosis, pulmonary embolism, and ultimately leads to death. In kidney, it also leads to kidney failure because it may leads to acute respiratory distress syndrome or sepsis, or when the viral load is very much high, it may leads to sepsis and its spread of infection, and ultimately it may leads to kidney failure also and multi-organ failure also. So various autopsy finding in various patients who has died because of COVID-19, it has been found that there is a diffuse alveolar damage and the fibroblast introduction or fibroblast infiltration on the lung alveoli, which proves that so there is an acute lung inflammation in case of COVID-19. So lung is the most important organ that is targeted in COVID-19 because COVID-19 virus has some spike protein on its surface. It has various envelope protein, spike protein, M protein. The spike protein attacks the ACU2, angiotensin converting enzyme 2 receptor on the alveolar and pulmonary epithelial surface, and ultimately responsible for lung damage and pulmonary damage, and which ultimately leads to pneumonia in the long term. So that's why most common cause of death in case of COVID-19 infection is lung failure or pulmonary failure or respiratory failure because of severe pneumonia, and it also leads to kidney injury, and when it comes to heart, it leads to myocardial injury. And we should not forget also that this infection by COVID-19 increases the coagulating power of the blood, and that's why blood become more thrombogenic and leads to thrombus formation. So there is a chance of pulmonary thrombus and pulmonary thrombosis may occur, which may leads to pulmonary embolism, and ultimately patient may die because of pulmonary embolism or pulmonary thrombosis, and which can be confirmed via increased level of D-dimer in the blood. Okay, so this is here lies the importance of pathology in knowing the COVID-19 cases. Now let's focus on the immunopathology. Immunologically, all of you know, when COVID-19 is a virus, RNA virus, when it enters, it is handled by our innate as well as acquired immunity. But chance of acquired immunity is very less because coronavirus exposure in the past, most of our cases, most of the patients at this our scenario, the past infection was less, so it is a new infection for the blood or for the immune system. So innate immunity plays an important role, and some preformed antibodies play an important role, and ultimately the antibodies play an important role in fighting against these viral antigens. So we will see rise in the interleukins 2, interleukin 7, interleukin 16, then granulocyte macrophage colony stimulating factor level in the blood will increase. At the same time, IP10 protein will increase, monocyte chemotactic protein will increase, then tumor necrosis factor alpha will increase. So we will see that in the blood, in COVID-19 cases, there is a rise of all the inflammatory agents in the blood, like interleukins, cytokines, and there will be blood will be flooded with cytokines. And in case of severe cases, or in the last stage of the COVID-19 cases, there is a cytokine storm because of excess production of the cytokine in the blood. Because of the infected cells, lots of cytokines are produced. So these cytokines may produce the cytokine storm, which is responsible for systemic inflammation and may leads to multi-organ failure, and ultimately the worsening of the complications of the COVID-19 patients, and leads to death in such patients. And we also see the acute respiratory distress syndrome in our body as a complication of COVID-19 cases, and which can be reflected by a rise of C-reactive protein, LDH, lactate dehydrogenase, and D-dimer. So D-dimer is a marker of pulmonary embolism and pulmonary thrombosis. So it proves that rise of D-dimer may be reflect that it may be because of COVID-19, may be result in pulmonary chance of increase in pulmonary thrombosis, pulmonary infarction, and which may leads to vascular complication also. And in lungs, we see lymphocyte infiltration as well as fibroblast proliferation, which ultimately decrease the lung compliance, and ultimately person will go into a stage of respiratory failure. So how to diagnose? So the diagnosis is very much important actually. So how to diagnose COVID-19 case, or how to diagnose coronavirus infection patients? So actually we have to collect the samples. So we have to collect samples from the patients, most from the nasopharyngeal swab. So nasopharyngeal swab means taking a swab or cotton and try to rub with the nasopharynx of the subject, and from there we collect the nasopharyngeal swab, or it may be nasal swab or sputum swab also. So we can do sputum examination or nasopharyngeal swab examination and nasal swab examination for diagnosis of COVID-19 cases. And at the same time, from this nasal swab and the nasopharyngeal swab, RT-PCR, reverse transcriptase PCR, polymerase chain reaction, RT-PCR we call it, is the most diagnostic tool of choice to diagnose this virus, and this is used most commonly in labs. At the same time, we also go for blood sample collection, and from blood also we can analyze the virus, or we can check for viral antibody in these patients. And most important sign symptoms, whether the person has, that is, chest palpitation, or if there is a SOB, shortness of breath, in those patients chest X-ray is must to see how much lung has been infected with the virus, or how much lung inflammation, or what is the severity of the pneumonia in such patients. Chest X-ray is advised for such patients, as we can focus on the how much lung is involved, whether how much we can see for any fibrotic changes in lung or not. So chest X-ray is a must. So simultaneously we can go for CT scan, chest CT scan, to diagnose any lung complication because of the COVID-19 infections. Now how to manage them? How to manage these patients? So all of you know, many drugs are not focused. There is no treatment and no vaccination still now, and it has been found that antibodies once developed may persist for 2 to 6 months in patients. So, and there is no specific drugs therapy for treating the COVID-19 cases, and mostly the treatment is based on supportive and symptomatic. Suppose the person present with fever, then we have to treat the complication of the fever, or we have to treat the fever and by giving paracetamols. At the same time, if there is a shortage of body fluids, if the pressure go down, then fluid therapy has to be advised. If there is oxygen support is needed, then we should give oxygen support. Or if there is a shortness of breath or chest tightness, we have to go for ventilations. And at the same time, personal hygiene has to be maintained, mask has to be applied, and proper diet, hygienic has to be given in such patients. And if the patient has already some complicated cases, like has superimposed heart disease or diabetes or in respiratory disease, we have to treat such condition. if the patient is hypertensive from beforehand, we have to treat the hypertension, or the patient is advised to continue the drugs as before, or new drugs has to be applied so as to normalize the blood pressure, as high blood pressure may be give a high increase the load on the heart, and which is the most another important organ which may be infected in COVID-19 cases. So superimposed hypertension, or the patient having high blood pressure may also have comorbidity, or may complicate easier compared to other normal cases. That's why we have to treat the hypertension, and if the patient is on diabetes or insulin therapy, we have to manage the cases and to so that blood sugar level is kept normal. At the same time, if the patient is asthmatic, we have to treat the asthma, or if the patient is having some respiratory situations, we have to treat such cases, or patient will be advised to take such medicines. Okay, and at the same time, recent concept shows that, recent analysis or some research shows that some drugs are used for prevention of complication in case of COVID-19 cases. So some of the example are chloroquine or hydroxychloroquine, which is antimalarial drug, which may also act as antiviral or anti-inflammation also, which prevents inflammation, systemic inflammation, and act as an immunomodulator and prevent the progression of the disease. So that's why hydrochloroquine or hydroxychloroquine is also advised in some cases in late stages to prevent complications, viral multiplication, or prevent inflammation also, which may ultimately helps in late complication of the COVID-19 infection. Beside that, glucocorticoid also plays an important role. Along with this, then some drugs like thalidomide. So these drugs may also play an important role in control of the COVID-19 cases in late stage. But most important thing is our immunity. So because we can handle the virus through our immunity only. So immunity is very much important. This is the most important self-defense mechanism in handling the virus in our body. That's why we should keep our immunity good, and we should take proper diet, nutrition, and proper management so as to keep our immunity strong. Okay, so that is the importance of the role of immunity in maintenance of COVID-19 infections. Now let's focus on the how to prevent the disease. All of you know it is there is no immunologically, the virus is very much infective, and role of immunity is very much important, and there is no vaccine development still now. All throughout the world, many scientists are focusing on development of vaccine, but still now no vaccine has been developed. That's why prevention is the most important target in spread of the disease. Okay, so what are the various aspects or crucial things we have to do in order to prevent the disease? So number one is washing our hands frequently. We have to wash our hands regularly, and at least with soap and water, or with hand wash at least for 20 seconds. Okay, so these will kill the virus and any other bacteria if it is left, and ultimately it helps in prevention of transmission of the disease. We should use alcohol sanitizer time to time in order to sanitize our hands and fingers very nicely. Alcohol and some of the hydrogen peroxide is 100% virucidal, or kills the germs and viruses. That's why we should use alcohol sanitizer. That is most important. Another important and most important, we should wear a mask which will cover your nose and mouth. So that is important, because we know that virus spread by aerosol and droplet infections. That's why we must wear a mask. So especially in N95 mask can be used. If it is not there also, we can use any other mask that prevents any entry of any droplets or aerosol transmission from one person to another. And we should avoid touching any contaminated surface with hands and mouth, because I told you the virus can stay and can be alive on the surface of any objects, inanimate objects also, if it is deposited on their surface. That's why we should avoid touching any contaminated surface with our hands and mouth. Okay. At the same time, we also avoid traveling. That is most important, because the coronavirus or COVID-19 was first transmitted from China to throughout the world via travelers, international travelers only. So we should avoid unnecessary traveling in this pandemic season, and also we should avoid being in contact with infected person, or we should avoid those person who are infected by their sign symptoms. So like sneezing, person who are sneezing or coughing or shows having fever, we should avoid those persons. Or if we want to go also, we should take the self protection, wearing mask and all those things. And that's why in this way we ultimately try to prevent the disease. And another important thing you should not forget, we should maintain social distancing. Social distancing is publicly advised by various agencies, health workers and doctors also, because social distancing may prevent the transmission of the disease, as the virus can travel in the air by aerosol, or it can be airborne also, according to the recent reports given by the doctors to the world and scientists to the World Health Organization. Okay. And another important point we should not forget is that we should boost our immunity. How to boost our immunity, that we will discuss. That is the most important thing that we are going to discuss today. So we have to boost our immunity by taking proper diet, proper sleep, that we will discuss. So the most important, since there is no vaccine in this viral infection still now developed, the world is running after these vaccines, and there is no specific therapy also, antiviral therapy also, though hydrochloroquine and glucocorticoid may be used in the last stage. So we should keep our immunity healthy, or keep our immunity tight, so as to prevent the infection in normal subjects or healthy subjects. And one thing you should not forget, that the chance of infection is very much increased with ages. So older subjects has higher risk of infection, and if they get infected, the chance of complication and death is also higher. Incidence of death is also higher in older subjects or older patients compared to the younger ages. So now, all of you know, immunity plays important role in all viral infection, like influenza or flu, and it is also a flu, and the sign symptom is like a common cold and flu. So we have to boost our immunity, and immunity is the first line self-defense mechanism which will help you in fighting against this COVID-19 infection. Okay, so how to improve the immunity? That is the most important. Number one is we have to improve our diet. So diet is very important. We should take, during this pandemic season, we should better take low carb diet or low carbohydrate diet, because high carbohydrate diet may leads to increased blood sugar level, and it may weaken our immunity. So that's why we should also take low carbohydrate diet, which may control our blood pressure. At the same time, chance of diabetes is also decreased, and also improves our immunity. We should give importance to protein-rich diet. Protein-rich diet is very much important actually. Protein is a basic substrate that is responsible for increasing our immunity or formation of our T cell, B cell immunoglobulins. So protein-rich diet is very much important in this pandemic season. And we should also include vegetables and fruits, and which are rich in beta-carotene, ascorbic acid and vitamin C. So vegetable and fruits, especially citrus fruits, are very much important. Fresh green leafy vegetable and fruits, especially citrus fruits, are very much important actually, and this because they ultimately helps in boosting our immunity in the human body. So citrus fruits contain lots of vitamin C, which is an important antioxidant, and it boosts our immunity. We also should take some foods like mushroom, tomato, broccoli and spinach. So these are various various foods like spinach, tomato, broccoli. These are good vegetables. They are also increased our immunity. Supplements like omega-3 fatty acid and omega-6 fatty acid is very much important, which is found in fish oil and which can keep our cardiovascular stable and prevents us from exposure to coronary heart disease, future coronary heart disease, and also prevents systemic inflammation and also boost our immunity. So we should give importance to food containing omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acid. Example is fish. So especially we can take fish oil, that is very much important. We can also take naturally immunity supplements. So in our nature or some in our foods there is available from markets, some immunity boosters are there like ginger, gooseberries and turmeric. Gooseberries are also known as amla, which is rich of vitamin C. Ginger all of you know is also known as ada or adrak, that is also very much important actually, and turmeric, that is haldi. So these are naturally immunity supplement that is present in our should be present in our diet as they increase our immunity. We should also give importance to some herbs like garlic. So garlic is very much important actually. Garlic is rasun, so it is an anti-inflammatory agent and it prevents, it is some antiviral also, anti-cancer properties also it has. We should also take basil leaves. Basil leaves means tulsi. That is a part and parcel of almost all the cough syrup, so which improves the immunity. So tulsi leaves and garlic plays important role in boosting our immunity, so we must add in our regular diets. We can also take sunflower seeds like flax seed, pumpkin seed, and which are rich in protein source and which are rich in vitamin E. So various sunflower seeds, flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, watermelon seeds we can take. So seeds we can take which can boost our immunity. So this comes the diet. So diet is very much important, all of you know, because proper diet, proper nutrition is very much important as it regulates the immune system of our body, which will boost our immune system in the body. We should give importance to low carb diet and diet rich in proteins and which is rich in fresh green leafy vegetables and fruits, especially citrus fruits are allowed, and which are rich in vitamin C and natural antioxidants and immune boosters. Garlic, ginger we can take. Tulsi leaves are also very important, which increase our immunity. So and also we should include some special type of supplements like omega-3 fatty acid, omega-6 fatty acid that is present in the fish oil, which can also keep our immune system good, at the same time cardiovascular system also good. Okay, so proper diet, proper nutrition is very much important, and it supplies vitamins, minerals and antioxidants, and which prevents the failure of immunity to fight against the virus during this pandemic season. So next important thing we should not forget is that we should take regular sleep. So sound sleep is very much important. So normally for every subject 7 to 8 hours of sleep must be there, because sleep boosts our immunity.